Hey, so I want to talk about the bad. I like to talk about the good, but have to own it when we have bad raids and talk about it. And I think there's things to learn from that. So let's just watch the experience here. Good. So we're in Death Nightwing right now after Gothic. We just killed 2 gargoyles. So we
Those
have
gargoyles
stacks
do
of
not
gargoyle
move how you
ticks.
want to move them. Just like those are new
Watch that
beds.
patrol.
Yeah, good call. I didn't actually pay attention to that at all. We're gonna
Stay
stay
down, stay
really
down,
low
stay
here.
down, stay
Stay
down.
low.
Oh,
Okay, we
okay,
pulled.
we pulled.
Double pull. Stay. Everyone come back. Come up. Come up. Come up. We all got double hit. Okay. We had to just have to use a sap or something. You're all gonna die if you don't use a defensive. Use a defensive. This is a wipe.
Yikes.
Okay.
Recommend Petri out.
Dang, I died. Unfortunate. Yeah, so I'm not sure who the bozo was. I tried to say pull back. Really unfortunate. We still had stacks. You guys are just really bad players, is all I can say. Bozos, losers. But we can still clear the raid. Hopefully. We haven't had this happen in a very long time. I don't think we've wiped. Saw who it was. Okay, yeah, I don't want to point fingers at idiots. But I can't raid with people like that. Need more awareness. Straight up. But let's just focus on this raid in the short term. So that was the crash out after. This is a pretty solid raid group that have been together for a while. There's some new people every single time, but most of these guys have raided with me for a long period of time. And it really comes down to me not paying attention, right? I needed to have a clear call about the patrol right here and telling everyone early. I extended my words too much, right? I said, we need to stay really low. And I should have just said, stay low, stay low, stay low, right? Just overall bad comms by me. What I was trying to say at the end here is pull back up so that we didn't get hit by all the AoE at once and could hopefully kill like 1 or 2 of these at a time. But I think we got the acolytes pulled as well, potentially. No, it might have just been the gargoyles and the patrol, but that is enough. I do want to say the fact that we killed Skull so quickly, in some ways it almost feels recoverable, but when you have like 8 to 10 stacks like this so quickly, you're just screwed, straight up. You're not going to be able to get through this. So, very unfortunate way for us to die. It was the end of a DMF month, so we still had some DMF left, and not anymore. Unfortunate. At least I think it was. Maybe I'm a little bit off on that. At least this guy had DMF, right? So, not the raid that you want to have deaths in, but ultimately we ended up having a pretty good clear. After this happened, we go back the same way that we came. We get to here. We just take it really slow, nice and easy, where we kill the extra stuff. We normally don't kill this pack, but to get revenge on the wipe, we just lawnmower mode and go through the rest of this raid. So I just want to talk about that, what it's like when you wipe. This is why I'm so anti-tech. We don't really do much difference compared to with buffs or without buffs. So that makes it a lot easier for us, right? We have very few adjustments to make as a raid group. One thing, Nicole, I tried to Petri out and I failed my Petri. So all these times that I talk about, oh, it's so easy to Petri out of raids. You just leave group and then pop your Petri again. I couldn't do the basics right. So don't think of me as being this elite player because if you've raided with me countless times, you know how often I mention I am about average at best. But with that being said, average at best is still able to clear Naxx Rambus without world buffs. We pop nothing here at the start. So this is still a pretty strong raid group, right? Warrior meta. We have a very meta comp here of lots of priests. Only 4 mages, 2 warlocks, so very physical DPS heavy. Little scary how we got 4 stacks here. Our goal is to be able to burn Thane without cooldowns, and then we make the call here that we are going to burn Mograine with our cooldowns. So we pop everything here and it's safe. That's 4 horsemen, right? As long as you're able to finish off Mograine quickly, once you get down to the back 2 ads, it becomes a lot safer. So we had like 1 or 2 deaths, void zones or something. Not the end of the world. A couple more deaths. Got a little bit choppy at the end, but that's what happens too when you lose your buffs. People die easier, and it does just slow things down a bit, right? So we only are ever stacking 2 ads at a time. We're always single targeting those retchers and killing them as quick as possible. The knockup from the retchers is much more dangerous on casters if they're in range of it without buffs. It can basically one-shot you as a lesser geared caster. So again, just taking it nice and slow throughout this raid, nothing super crazy. We just take that extra 5 seconds as needed. We're never doing like pull timers on this stuff. That's just a waste of time. We AoE shout each pack, and we just methodically get through the rest of this raid. So just want to talk about that a little bit more here with Patchwerk. Normally we're single soaking. We would only have 1 person taking all the hatefuls, but in this instance here, we are going to have 2. So we have the main tank that has 4 healers. We have the main soaker that has 5 healers, and the secondary soaker only has 3 healers. So it's really important that you understand which guy has the most health. You see how we start this pull up there. Easy peasy. The opener is everything, and both Homeo and Tuco live. So from here, it's just healers making sure that they have enough mana for the full fight. And again, that is the nice thing about a GDKP, where everyone's on the same page here. The only way that we are going to get paid is if we buckle down, use our consumables, and focus. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time for literally 40 people. So that's really the name of the game here. We'll just take a quick look at Sapphiron, which is coming up, because obviously Sapphiron without buffs is kind of scary. I die here. This was the one time that I died as the main tank after losing buffs. Really important to keep your main tank alive when you don't have buffs. So I just got kind of womboed here. Hit really quickly. It almost looked like parry haste where it like turns around and then hits again quickly. I'm not going to look into the details of that, but I died really fast there. Boom, 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 dead. So anyways, we move forward. Tuco, as usual, tanks this fight. Again, because when everyone dies, it's almost better than like half the raid dying, because you're not worried about DPS pulling thread as much. It's just an even playing field again. So once you get through Patchwerk, the rest of this wing should be pretty basic. We have 1 or 2 deaths, people not going on the right sides or whatever. I die again, so I guess that was incorrect. I think I might have went up to the wrong side. Oh, this was perfect timing with badness. So yeah, we get a swap right at the end, and I just have an absolute brain fart. I don't have any brain power left after losing buffs like that, and I'll obviously cope with these comments, but just was very, very checked out. And that's what happens when raids start going bad, right? Is players just stop caring as much, and I definitely was guilty of that here. Just mentally not as interested in what was going on and Giga Tilt. Again, mostly because I'm mad at myself for the bad calls and just not playing the best. So anyways, moving forward here, this is a little scary, only having 5 decurses, so very important that it happened, and it did. Hooray. Moving forward further. Heigen. The key is, can we beat the teleport? Otherwise, you got to tell everyone in the other room that they have to run when there's 6 people. So we made the call to sell those 6 people, not to run, because we one-phase Noth. That's kind of like the first check. If you can one-phase Noth, pretty good chance, as long as nothing goes crazy wrong, you get a ton of DPS teleported. And we did have multiple DPS teleported here, right? We had Warrior and Rogue teleported, so we did lose a little bit, but still had enough. So this was scary. Doing Loatheb without buffs is a much tougher fight. I think we did have some like paladins and maybe 1 or 2 priests somehow save their buffs. In retrospect, I would always prefer that the Paladin use their DI on the tanks rather than Paladins trying to save their buffs, but it does help us a little bit here for the Sapphiron that's about to happen. So we survive, hooray! And again, this is the real test. Sapphiron without buffs. Again, maybe like 5 to 10 people have buffs at this point that Petried or Hearthed out, that kind of stuff, but it is pretty bare bones here. Key to have a good opener. I still Death Wish on the opener, almost die there, so healers did a really good job healing me. But using that Death Wish at the start as the main tank really gives you a lot of freedom for the rest of the fight, having that shield on and not being as worried about anyone overtaking you. Even though I think like Kirky may have had buffs still, looks like Kirky and Kevs are doing considerable more damage. Don't know exactly, but you just see that difference on the DPS meter, right? So we expect 2 air phases. That's what happens here. We just have to survive this last air phase and now nuke it down. And fortunately we do it with like 20, 30 seconds at most, 15 seconds, 20, 15 seconds. And we get Slayers, hooray. So that's the magic, right? Because we're able to kill that boss, we used our resources for that. We got rewarded and everyone can pay for their consumables just for that one fight from the boss drop that we got. And that was pretty clean overall, right? Like we had a priest die at the very end. May have called to use Abiras during the fight, I don't remember, but anyways, very, very clean Sapphiron for not having buffs. Key is that priests are just focused on their groups, and the main tank doesn't die, as well as decurse is happening. So KT, if my memory serves me right, did get a little bit chippy. This is like a month ago at this point, so not a super recent memory in my mind. Definitely a memory that I want to forget, but we got through it. Having a paladin spamming kings in this phase 1 here really does help. Highly recommend that. That one was doing it. So we had Kevs die in the opener. I thought I was the closest. I thought I had threat, but he must have just hit it once and died. So yeah, tank not having any buffs at the opener, you just got to give him a second. Unfortunately, I didn't have that. This was really scary. Unfortunately, we still had our frost pot popped on all these guys, so lots of people get hit here. Looks like a healer got hit as well, but everyone survives it. Hooray! Mind control happens right after we control the people that get mind controlled. So I think Topper might just die here from Void Zone. Yeah, rip. So just didn't move quite in time. It's a good player. You don't normally see that happen, but anyone can die to a Void Zone if they're just zoned out for half a second. And overall, ended up getting a decent kill, couple deaths on some bosses, but not a whole ton of disaster after the disaster, right? And that's just what I want to encourage you from this experience is even when everything can go wrong and it looks like it's completely fallen apart, there can still be good raids, right? Was this a great raid? No, but we still had Titans on the entire raid. It was like 140-ish, so whatever, right? As long as you get done with Naxx in under 2 hours, generally that is considered a win. Using that one flask is the feels good moment once you're done with it all, not having to pop that second one. So anyways, just I wanted to talk about it. Chaos can happen and you can get through it, guys. So GG's and until the next one.